Can AI predict the next housing market crash? In 2008, the global housing market collapsed. Trillions of dollars disappeared, banks failed, millions of families lost their homes. What shocked the world wasn't just the crash itself, it was the fact that most experts didn't predict it. Today, however, the housing market is being watched by something far more powerful than traditional economic models: artificial intelligence. But can AI actually predict the next housing market crash? Or are we still blind to the risks building beneath the surface? To understand that, we first need to look at why humans struggle to predict housing crashes at all. Part 1. The limits of human forecasting. For decades, economists relied on traditional forecasting models to understand housing markets. These models focused on a handful of major indicators: interest rates, employment levels, household income growth, and construction activity. Using these signals, analysts built models that attempted to forecast whether housing prices would rise, stabilize, or fall. For a long time, these models worked well enough to guide investors and policymakers, but the modern economy has become far more complex. After 2025, global interest rates began moving in ways that shocked many economists. Central banks around the world rapidly changed policy in response to inflation, economic slowdowns, and geopolitical instability. Interest rates didn't just move up or down gradually, they began shifting quickly and sometimes unpredictably. For housing markets, this created enormous uncertainty. Mortgage rates could surge in a matter of months, instantly changing affordability for millions of buyers. Traditional economic models were never designed to handle this level of volatility. They were built for a world where economic shifts happened slowly, but the modern financial system moves faster than those models can adapt. This is one of the reasons forecasting the housing market has become so difficult. The old tools are struggling to keep up with a rapidly changing economy. Part 2. The hidden problem of human bias. Another challenge in housing forecasting isn't mathematical, it's psychological. Even the most experienced analysts are still human, and humans are prone to cognitive bias. Analysts often rely upon historical patterns when making predictions. If housing prices have risen for many years, people begin to assume that trend will continue. If a city has historically had stable housing prices, analysts may assume it will remain stable in the future. But markets change in ways that historical data alone cannot always capture. One of the biggest blind spots in traditional forecasting is hyper-local housing trends. Many analysts focus on national statistics: average home prices, national mortgage rates, countrywide housing supply. But housing markets don't move in perfect national patterns. They move city by city, sometimes even neighborhood by neighborhood. For example, emerging technology hubs can dramatically change local housing demand. When a fast-growing tech industry moves into a city, thousands of high-income workers may suddenly arrive. This increases demand for housing almost overnight. Home prices begin rising rapidly. Investors rush in. Developers struggle to keep up with demand. From the national perspective, everything may still look stable, but locally, a housing bubble may already be forming. These hyper-local shifts are extremely difficult for human analysts to track consistently across hundreds of cities. And sometimes, the first signs of a national housing crisis begin in just a handful of rapidly growing markets. Part 3. The data explosion of 2026. There is another problem that makes housing forecasting even harder today. The amount of data available has exploded. Modern housing markets generate enormous streams of real-time information every single day. Mortgage applications are filed constantly. New construction permits are issued across thousands of cities. Rental prices change weekly. Population migration patterns shift as people move between regions. Even online behavior creates valuable signals. Searches for phrases like "homes for sale near me," "mortgage rates today," or "how to buy a house" can reveal changes in consumer demand. This data is incredibly valuable, but it also creates a serious problem. The sheer volume of information has become too large for humans to analyze effectively. In the past, economists could examine housing trends using spreadsheets and monthly reports. Today, that approach is becoming obsolete. By the time a human analyst compiles and studies all the available data, the market may have already shifted. Housing markets can move quickly when investor sentiment changes or borrowing conditions tighten, and this is where artificial intelligence begins to transform the process. Part 5. How AI analyzes the housing market. AI has one enormous advantage over human analysts. It can process massive data sets instantly. Instead of studying a few dozen indicators, AI systems can analyze millions of data points simultaneously. Machine learning models can examine mortgage default risks, local housing inventory levels, construction activity, migration trends, regional employment growth, rental price changes, interest rate movements, and they can do this across thousands of cities at once. AI systems also learn from historical data. They can examine decades of housing cycles, financial crises, and economic shifts to detect patterns that humans might overlook. For example, AI models can detect when housing prices are rising much faster than wages in a specific city. They can identify when investor purchases suddenly spike in certain markets, or when housing supply begins falling far below demand. These patterns don't always mean a crash is coming, but they can signal rising instability in the market. Major financial institutions are already using AI models to monitor these risks. Investment firms, banks, and even central banks are experimenting with machine learning tools to identify early warning signals of housing bubbles. In some cases, AI systems can detect unusual market behavior months before traditional economic reports reveal the same trends. Part 5. The real lesson. Despite its power, AI cannot perfectly predict the exact moment a housing crash will occur. Financial markets are influenced by human behavior. Fear, speculation, political decisions, and unexpected global events all play major roles. A sudden policy shift by a central bank could dramatically change mortgage rates. A global crisis could alter migration patterns overnight. Even the most advanced algorithm cannot predict every possible shock to the system. But AI can still do something incredibly valuable. It can reveal warning signs much earlier than humans ever could. It can identify housing markets where prices are becoming disconnected from income. It can highlight cities where housing supply is dangerously tight, and it can detect rising financial risks hidden inside mortgage markets. In other words, AI may not predict the exact day of the next housing crash, but it can show us where the pressure is building. And history has shown that housing crises rarely appear without warning. The signals are often there. The real question is whether governments, investors, and banks will actually listen to those warnings. Because if they ignore them, the next housing market crash may not be unpredictable at all. It may already be quietly forming beneath the surface of today's market.